Good morning, it's February 27th, and today we're going to be looking back and looking forward. Last week obviously was a tough week for both equities and bonds around the world. Today we're getting a little bit of pop in equities here, but a lot of people ask, what do you do in that case? Maybe they were riding the highs of January, took off shorts, or were not as protected here for February's downturn. And so they're trying to figure out, what do I do now? I like to use the Longbow dashboard for one way to look at it, but then also think about my own portfolios. Let's say you have individual accounts that you're looking at, because let's say you already have a ton of protection and you just want to inch it up, then maybe use these signals to have a better sense of timing of when you want to do that. But let's say you've been caught flat-footed, that you rode the January highs, you didn't have much protection on, you really need to add some more. In that case, I tend to think about overall, today is a great day to start doing what you think is right. So if you're just incrementalizing things, use these signals that I'm going to talk about. But if you've really been underprotected and you think that you need protection, then I always say, then just get it done. Don't be waiting and try to incrementalize things. But today you see a host of neutral. So here's my detailed view you can see of my morning. I've got the SPY in there, so the S&P 500. I've got the EFA, so developed markets ex-US ETF. I've got the dollar ETF, gold ETF, and then the 20-plus year Treasury ETF, the TLT. And so we're in our trading range here. So today, if you're inching, not an important day to really be doing anything. I'm looking at the neutral signals. I'm seeing that the core signal's neutral. And so in that case, I'm not going to do much. But again, as I said, if you really need to add some on because you've been underprotected, you might think about doing it. Or if maybe you've been too protected and you say, oh gosh, after last week, I need to be adding equities. Again, if you need to add a ton, then today's your day. But if you're incrementalizing, everything's really in the middle of its range. In terms of the short term, you've seen bearish is SPY. You've seen bearish internationally. The dollar's been moving up. A lot of people talking about how it's going to weaken, but the time hasn't been yet. And then for gold, it's been bearish. So again, we've talked about in the last few weeks how when the dollar's up, gold often goes down. And then the TLT, you say the same things, where equities were down last week and so were bonds as inflation readings came in hot. For the medium term, though, things are a little bit different because we saw these play out in a different way. But I wanted to point out one more thing before we leave today, is you've probably noticed that there's some new features on Longbow. This is my detailed view, but I also can take a look at a basic view, which we've seen before. You've probably noticed that there's some tweets now you can read. You don't have to go to your Twitter. And you can see the Longbow arrows, which are the notes that we put out in the morning. So you can see both of those. And I really like that because it gives me a sense then of if I'm trying to figure out what's going on in the day, I'm just coming in, I've got my morning read, I can be taking a look at all of these things. So I like to see that. So those are some new features for you, as well as looking at the neutral signs here. I'll catch you back tomorrow, and we'll be into March very, very soon. So see you then.